regulate your blood sugar levels. How many of you remember that from last time we were on? And we also said that the pancreas releases enzymes to help with digestion and hormones to regulate the blood sugar. And this enzyme, fancy word, it's really called insulin. How many of you have heard of this word called insulin? The pancreas that we showed you the last time you were on releases insulin. Thank you, Dr. Samantha. So let me explain to you how this works. When you eat food, whatever you eat, the food that you eat, it's broken down into sugars. And this circulates in your blood whenever you eat, all right? And then when you eat your food, it's broken down into sugar, it circulates in your blood, it increases your blood sugar. This blood sugar increase causes the pancreas now to release insulin. I'll say it again. When you eat, your food is broken down into sugar and it goes into your blood. Yeah? Break it down. Whatever you eat provision, you eat callaloo, you eat macaroni pie, you eat fried rice, you eat whatever you eat, it is broken down into sugar and then the sugar goes in your blood. It circulates, so it goes all in your blood. And because now your food breaks down the sugar into your blood, it of course now your blood sugar levels will increase. So the increase in your blood sugar levels will cause now the pancreas to release insulin. Because there is sugar in your blood, you need the insulin now to be released to help that blood now to go into the cells in your body. So when you eat the food, it turns into sugar. The sugar is now released in your blood. And so the pancreas now releases insulin. So the insulin is like the key to let the blood sugar go into your cells, into the cells in your body. It has to go into the cells. And it has to go in there to give you energy. So think of it, you're eating, and then the food just mashes up. And of course, because you're putting sugar in it, because your food is breaking down into sugar, your blood now gets more sugar. And it sends a signal to your pancreas that there's food is being eaten right now, sugar levels are rising. And so the pancreas kicks into action now and releases this enzyme, releases this thing that they call insulin. And what the insulin does now, it helps the blood sugar or that sugary blood. What it helps it to do is to take it now from the blood, put it into the cells in your body. And when that happens, you get energy. That's why when you eat, and if you eat right, if you're very hungry, and of course, sometimes you've gotten so hungry, you just feel, God, I can't think, I need something to eat. And from the moment you eat, you're able to function. Have any of you ever felt that way? You're so famished, you're not fasting, you're not praying, it's a normal day, and you're very hungry and you feel like you can't function until you get something to eat. And when you get something to eat, your body feels energized. How many of you that has happened to you and you could identify with that? So food, I want you to know, food that you eat breaks down into sugars. When it gets into your blood, what happens now is that your pancreas gets the signal that your eaten sugar is being released. And so your pancreas releases this thing called insulin. And then the insulin will let your blood sugar, help your blood sugar to go into your body cell. And then once it gets into the cells in your body, it uses the sugar as energy. And after this happens, your blood sugar returns to a normal level. You eat, I'm repeating because I want you to understand. You eat it, you eat food, your sugar level rises, your pancreas kicks into action, releases the insulin, and then takes that blood sugar now and puts it into your body, the cells in your body, and then you get energized. And then because the insulin helps the blood sugar to go into the cells in your body, it's kind of like hiding it into these cells or putting it into these cells. What happens? Your blood sugar comes normal because the insulin now takes that blood sugar, puts it into the cell, and brings it back to normal. That's how your body is supposed to function. Also, the insulin also tells your liver, you see the extra blood that's there, store that extra blood sugar for energy for later. So it's like this whole everybody's working together as a team. Food starts coming down. You're eating, it's going through the esophagus, it's coming down, it's going into your stomach. And as it goes into your stomach now, the sugar from your food starts increasing your already normal sugar level. And then when that happens now, it sends a signal to your pancreas, and the pancreas releases the insulin. They're working together in niceness. And then when that happens now, the insulin helps that blood sugar to go into the cells in your body, and then you get energized. And then your blood sugar comes back to normal. And the extra blood sugar, if it's too much, what happens now, the insulin now sends a signal to your liver and tells your liver, listen, store this extra for me so that later on when they need it, they're gonna have it. All right. You see, it's a nice thing. Just think of this when you're eating, eat in. All right. So this is what happened. And as I said before, everyone has insulin in their body. That's a normal function. What the insulin does again is to help move your sugar from move the glucose, the sugar from your blood into the cells in your body. Your body will use it for energy. And so what happens is sometimes the cells in your body resist the help of the insulin that the pancreas is releasing in the body. Once everything is working, everybody together in harmony, everything is good. But sometimes, for one reason or another, the cells decide, you know what, I'm not, I'm not cooperating. And so what happened is that it resists the insulin that the pancreas is releasing in your body. Are you all following? I hope I'm not confusing you. And so when that happens, it means that there's a lot of blood sugar that will enter into your bloodstream. Once those cells resist the insulin and saying, I'm not cooperating, because remember, the insulin is helping the blood sugar to normalize by putting it in the cells. But the cells sometimes give a little resistance to this insulin. And then of course, if it's resisting the insulin, what's going to happen? If this blood sugar is not um if the insulin is not working with the rest of the cell itself is not receiving the insulin based on what I just said, what you think is going to happen? If the cells are resisting the insulin that the pancreas is releasing in your body, what is going to happen? Anybody? Simple. Your blood sugar will just keep building. Because remember, if I said when you're eating, your food breaks down into sugar, pancreas kicks into action, puts the extra sugar into your cell to give you energy. and then the rest is stored in your liver. So if the cells are resisting the insulin, then it means your blood sugar level is building. It means blood is going into your bloodstream. It means nothing is being taken from the blood to go into the cell because the insulin is not doing its job. So there's a lot of sugar taking place there. You all are understanding this sugar is coming in and no insulin taking it into the cell. So the sugar is just going all over the place. Are you all following? And then what happens now is that the pancreas now has to pump plenty. It starts to work harder now because the cell resisting the insulin, the blood sugar in your body is just going up and going up and going up. So the pancreas starts to work a little harder. It's working really, really harder now to get more, trying hard to see if they can get the blood sugar to get into the cell. He's working really hard. It's like, cell, you're giving trouble, you're giving trouble. What's going on? And, start getting, a bit excited. It's like you're trying to, how many of you, you're trying to fit something and you're doing it all the time, it's fitting good, especially those of you who have juicers. Oh my goodness, they need to make juicers that could really work properly. How many of you have juicers that you bought the juicer to use and you feel like you want to tell that juicer outside because it's just not fitting in right? It's like you're fumbling to fit it, you're fumbling, it just can't get this thing to just go in properly. You have to spend a whole 15 minutes to get it working, and then after that you have to dismantle it and go over. So it's the same thing. So what is happening now, the pancreas now is fighting to get this blood and to get the blood into the cells, and the cell will cooperate, the cell giving trouble. And so over time, what will happen is that as the sugar builds, the pancreas is just pushing out higher levels of insulin just to get more blood sugar into your cell, just to push it and get it there. And then when this continues, as the blood continues to build, the cells resisting over time, the cell just decides, you know what, I'm not going to work with you. I don't want to be your friend, insulin. That's it. I'm just shutting up. I don't want any blood sugar in the cells. And the cells kind of stop responding to the insulin. And when it stops responding to the insulin, you will hear the doctors and them say that you're insulin resistance. You ever heard that word before, insulin resistance? Because the cell just won't work together and cooperate with the insulin. And so they say now you're insulin resistance. It means your blood sugar remains high, and this causes your pancreas to keep releasing more insulin because even though your cells resisting the insulin, the pancreas is seeing sugar. There's sugar, so the pancreas is still working. He's still working. He's still working and releasing insulin, releasing insulin, releasing insulin. And the cells decide, I am not taking it. You can work as hard as you want, pancreas. It ain't bother me. And eventually, your pancreas cannot keep up. There's too much sugar in your blood. Are you all following it? Following? And because now there's too much sugar in the blood and it's not dealt with in a timely way and it's left untreated, what happens now is that your blood sugar gets high. It gets very high, and when it gets so high, what happens is that it can cause your kidneys now to fail. It malfunction, damage, too much happening. All this sugar there in your body, pancreas releasing insulin, so there's a set of blood sugar, a set of sugar in your blood, one set of insulin taking place, everything is just chaotic in the body. And because it gets chaotic now, the kidney now steps into play. All the time they're working good, It gets too much. So it wakes up the kidney in a way now that the kidney trying to to work together with them and trying to do its part, it malfunctions and your kidney gets damaged. You see what the sugar, your blood sugar can do. And when this happens, you would hear them say, well, the kidney's not working, your kidney's damaged, it's not working properly, it's malfunctioning, so they have to put you on something called dialysis. How many of you have heard about dialysis? And dialysis is needed now to take the job of the kidney. And I want you all to understand something here. Just in case you don't know, your kidney is extremely important. It is extremely important because you need your kidneys to filter your blood. And if your blood is filled with sugar, because the cells not cooperating with the insulin, with the pancreas, there's all this blood sugar, there's all this sugar in your blood, and the kidney have to filter it. So it's plenty work for the kidney because remember the insulin and the cells not working hand in hand. And now the kidney has to filter, and it's so much she has to do with all this sugar, it's so much. And the kidney gets overworked, it gets damaged, and then sometimes it just dies because it's too much to filter, too much to filter. And I want you to know, just in case you don't know, your kidneys is what removes the waste and the fluids in your body. Think of it like a strainer. And can I tell you something? Your kidneys, do you know how much gallons of fluid a day the kidney filters in your body? Come on, I want you to talk to me. Do you know? Or maybe you can make a guess. It's gallons, huh? Gallons. Sharon, you ain't ready yet. 5? No. I want to show you all something. Because I want you to understand every part of your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. You need to preserve your temple. Got to take care of it. And so what I want you to do is to look at the screen. And hold on. Keep your eyes on the screen. How many of you ever seen this bottle? How many of you have seen this bottle? Not yet, Brother Kenville. 12 is too little bit. Any of you have ever seen this? Have you ever went into a business place and in the business place you see like they have a water cooler? You've ever seen a water cooler? Right, let me see if I can help some of you here. You've never seen a water cooler? You never went into a business establishment and you've ever seen this? How many of you seen that? Well, this is 5 gallons. It's only 5 gallons. But I want to let you know that your body, your kidney, filters 50 of this a day. Your kidneys, they are the organs that filters your blood. They remove waste and they filter 50 gallons. This is 5, so you're using, this is 5 gallons here in this one bottle, so it's 10 bottles of this a day. You can't even drink, you cannot even drink 10 bottles. You cannot even drink 5 gallons by itself. Your belly, your stomach will burst. And your kidneys filter 50 gallons of this every day. 50 gallons of this could, as they say, fill a bathtub. That's what your kidneys do every day. 50 gallons of fluid every day. And your kidneys remove waste from your body like urine. You know, some of you say pee. It's important, you know. It also controls the acid in your body. And it makes glucose. If your blood does not have enough sugar, your kidneys will make it for you. Your kidneys are essential. I need you to understand that. Because sometimes we take these things for granted and we don't really pay mind. You understand? Look at this here. This is what your kidneys look like. And your kidneys, you have one on this side and one on the other side of your spine. And it's in your lower back. Back, right? Not in your front. Your kidneys are in your back. And that's why some people get back pain. And when they get back pain, they say, you better go and check your kidneys. You ever heard people say that? You ever heard them say that? See it? You're seeing? We have to take care of our temple. And again, as I said to you, I'm just laying down the foundation for where we are going. And so tonight I'm looking at the time and I want to wrap up. Don't want to give you too much. I just want to take my time with it. Want you to know as well that as a human being, we have to understand that you and I, we cannot live without insulin. Our body needs insulin. As a matter of fact, you can die if you don't have insulin in your body. It's necessary. You all following? And that's why some people who are diabetic, what did doctor do? Come on, what did doctor do? They give you, come on, you all don't know? When people are diabetic, the doctor give them insulin to take and they have to inject themselves with insulin. You understand? Because listen, when you have insulin problems, it's usually because your blood sugar is building and it's not going into your cell. When this happens, you're looking at pre-diabetes. Ever heard them say that? You ever heard pre-diabetes? Nobody that the doctor says pre-diabetes, and as we said last time, the diabetes, what happens? It will lead to type 2 diabetes. And remember, as we said before, pre-diabetes, if you go to the doctor says it's pre-diabetes, it's already an indicator that something is going wrong in your body. Don't say, well, the doctor say I'm I ain't really diabetic, I'm pre-diabetic, and you take it very lightly. Don't take it lightly because the long-term damage of diabetes already is taking place in your body, especially to your heart, your blood vessels, and your kidneys. And I want you to understand, as I get ready to hand over to Dr. Richards, that some of these signs, it's not always that way, um, that would suggest that pre-diabetes to type 2 diabetes is when you have an increased thirstiness, always thirsty. You drink water and you're just feeling thirsty. Your thirst is not being quenched when you drink water. And not all the time, but frequent urination. When you just run into the washroom, even if you don't drink water, you run into the washroom. And I have to say that because sometimes if you're drinking a lot of water, you're gonna go, to the washroom regular. So don't, go into this panic mode and start, saying that something is wrong. It's not always that way. If you're drinking plenty of water, then you may urinate more. But if you're not, and you're not drinking plenty water, but you're urinating plenty, that's a sign of pre-diabetes leading into type 2 diabetes. Increased hunger, always feeling hungry, feeling tired. And you know why you're feeling tired. Remember, we spoke about it because the insulin helps the blood sugars to go into your cells to give you energy. So if it's not, and there's a lot of blood sugar in your blood and the insulin is not working, the pancreas is producing a lot of insulin, and the cell is resisting the insulin, you're going to get tired because it's not going into your cells to give you energy. Blurred vision, numbness or tingling in the feet of hands, frequent infection, you're always having an infection, a slow healing sore, you get cut on your body and it just taking long to heal. That's why you would find, some of you might hear people say that whenever you have something that is taking long to heal, you know what they say, you're diabetic or what? You're diabetic? Come talk to me. Ever hear people say so from the moment you have something on your body and it's taking long to heal, they ask you if you're diabetic. And then weight loss. Some people lose a lot of weight. You would see people, and I'm sure some of you would know that. You see someone and they say, you really lost weight, and then you ask people, you're diabetic, you have sugar. Some people say your blood sweet or what? Because you realize that the person losing weight. It doesn't always be that way, but these are some of the signs that you see with people who are diabetic. So you have to be very careful and watch yourself. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Yes? And also, what they're saying is that type 2 diabetes, and it's important that you all understand this, it's associated with obesity. Some people, because their sugar level is like that. I told you before, you got heart problems. Not always the case, but liver problems, your kidney gets problem, your nerve damage, all this with sugar, yeah? And I'm talking about this processed sugar and what you get from what you eat, your food. Diabetes, people who have diabetes, they have high blood pressure, sorry, high blood pressure. And then they have the good cholesterol, it drops. So they have low levels of good cholesterol. You see this thing called sugar? And then what happens is now they have high levels of fat, a type of fat in your blood, fatty blood, and then you get fatty liver disease. And then and in case you didn't know, with sugar, when your sugar gets high, you can get a stroke, eye problems. You could even lose your vision when your sugar is high. You see, that's why we need what we need is the pancreas to work properly. And sometimes you may be going to the doctor for one thing when it's something else. Right. And then high sugar, sorry, it can even cause polycystic ovary syndrome. Some people struggling to get pregnant and the sugar is the problem. I know of someone who, because of her being diabetic, she could not conceive at all. And then it just leads to difficulty in becoming pregnant. And then with with all the sugar in your blood, you some people get overweight. One of the things that is not always so, but when you look at someone who has a big belly or a big waist, let me say a big waist, that's an indicator that that person, science says so, that when you look at someone's stomach, if it's large, it's an indicator that there's an insulin resistance. The cells in that person's body is not cooperating with the insulin. And so it the insulin resistance goes up. And as it goes up, the waist starts swelling. Are you listening and following? It's important that you understand that when you don't move about either, when you stay in one place and you find yourself being, a bit, you know, um, slow in what you do, what they say that as well, medically proven, it causes your blood sugar level to rise. And that's why those people who are diabetics, what they tell you to do, what they say to you when you go and the doctor says you have diabetes, what they say to do, exercise. They tell you go and take a walk. Come on, talk to me. We're gonna stop here tonight. Put your hand towards the screen.